She's turned into a female George.
That's a horrible thing to say.
Can you think of something else?
The Jeffersons didn't just move on up, they kicked the door down. This wasn't another safe sitcom about a nice black family living quietly. This was wealth, pride, and unapologetically, blackness crashing into prime time like a wrecking ball. But behind the catchy theme song and George's sharp tongue, chaos ruled. The star nearly quit over money, script sparked fights, and one episode, it almost ended everything. These are 20 weird facts about the Jeffersons. And the bonus, a piece of furniture that became more valuable than gold. Number 20. The show was born. From a doorway,
Ha-ha, you're in. No, I ain't, I'm out. If you're on my stoop, that's the same as being in my house. Stoops don't count. Stoops on.
Well, we're moving on now. Moving on up to the east side. To a deluxe apartment.
before George Jefferson ever moved into that deluxe apartment in the sky, he was just a neighbor. He first appeared on All in the Family in 1971, living next door to Archie Bunker and serving as his perfect opposite. Where Archie was working class and casually racist, George was upwardly mobile and unapologetically black. Norman Lear knew immediately he had something special. The chemistry between Carroll O'Connor and Sherman Hemsley crackled with tension, humor, and truth. George wasn't written to be likable. He was written to be real, a black man who'd clawed his way out of poverty and refused to apologize for his success or his anger. After 3 years of scene-stealing appearances, Lear gave him his own show. The Jeffersons premiered in 1975, and within weeks, it became clear this wasn't just a spin-off. It was a revolution. George and Louise Jefferson, or Wheezy as he called her, represented something America had never seen before on television. A wealthy black couple living large without shame, without needing white approval, without softening their edges. The show didn't ask permission to exist. It simply moved on up and dared anyone to stop it. Norman Lear had built his empire on pushing boundaries, but the Jeffersons pushed further than anything before it, proving that black excellence didn't need to be explained or justified. It just needed to be shown. Number 19, Sherman Hemsley. Hush, almost didn't play. Framazunderich, Chip I've George. Huff. When Norman Lear created George Jefferson for All in the Family, Sherman Hemsley was performing on Broadway in Purley. Lear saw him on stage and knew instantly he'd found his George. That perfect combination of swagger, anger, and underlying vulnerability. But Hemsley was locked into a contract, unable to leave the production. So, Lear did something almost unheard of on television. He waited. For an entire year, the role of George Jefferson sat empty while Hemsley finished his Broadway commitment. Lear could have recast, could have moved on, but he refused. He knew that George Jefferson needed Sherman Hemsley's energy, that specific New York hustle mixed with barely contained rage that Hemsley brought to every performance. And when Hemsley finally became available in 1973, he stepped into the role like he'd been born for it. And in many ways, he had been. Hemsley understood George because he'd lived parts of George's story, the climb from nothing, the constant need to prove himself, the armor of arrogance worn to hide deeper insecurities. That authenticity made George Jefferson one of television's most complex characters. He wasn't a saint or a stereotype. He was a man, flawed and funny, and absolutely unforgettable. And it all happened because Norman Lear believed in waiting for the right actor, even when it meant delaying an entire character's introduction for a full year. Number 18, the theme song. Almost got rejected.
Well, you know, if you had a show, I could do something. I could do the music. He said, oh, really? That's how he looked like, oh, really?
Well, we're moving on now. Moving on up to the east side. To a deluxe apartment.
Movin' On Up is one of the most recognizable television theme songs in history, but it almost never made it to air. Composer Jeff Barry wrote the song specifically for the Jeffersons, capturing George's journey from poverty to penthouse in 3 minutes of pure soul. But network executives hated it. They thought it was too specific, too tied to the Black experience, too unapologetically proud. They wanted something safer, something more universal, something that wouldn't make white audiences uncomfortable. Norman Lear fought back hard. He argued that the song was the show, that it told George's entire story before the first scene even started. The lyrics weren't subtle. Well, we're moving on up to the east side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky. They announced success, achievement, arrival. And that's exactly what made executives nervous. They didn't want a show that celebrated Black wealth without asterisks or apologies. But Lear refused to back down, and eventually the network caved. Moving on up stayed, and it became iconic. Decades later, people who never watched a single episode can still sing every word. The song transcended the show, becoming an anthem for anyone who'd ever climbed out of struggle into success. It proved that sometimes the most controversial choice is the right one, and that authentic voices will always resonate louder than safe ones. Number 17.
Hit it, Ben. We started out with nothing. Beans and meatless stew. Now we're rich.
Isabel Sanford made history. Before the first episode aired, Isabel Sanford wasn't just playing Louise Jefferson. She was making history. When the Jeffersons premiered, Sanford became the first Black actress to star in a successful television sitcom. Not a supporting role, not a guest spot, but a genuine lead. Her name in the opening credits, her face on promotional materials, her character driving storylines. The significance cannot be overstated. In 1975, opportunities for Black actresses were scarce and usually demeaning, but Louise Jefferson was different. She was dignified, intelligent, loving, and strong, a fully realized character with her own agency and perspective. Sanford brought warmth and wisdom to the role, serving as the show's moral center and George's perfect counterbalance. Where he was loud and abrasive, she was calm and reasonable. Where he saw conflict, she saw compromise. But she wasn't a pushover or a stereotype of the long-suffering wife. Louise had her own opinions, her own dreams, and she wasn't afraid to put George in his place when necessary. Their relationship felt real because it was built on genuine respect and love, even when they were fighting. Sanford's performance earned her an Emmy in 1981, making her the first Black actress to win for Outstanding Lead Actress in a comedy series. It took 6 seasons, but the recognition was overdue and well-deserved. Isabel Sanford didn't just play Louise Jefferson. She embodied dignity, grace, and strength, showing America what a Black woman could be when given the chance. Number 16. The interracial kiss that changed everything.
She's turned into a female George.
That's a horrible thing to say.
Can you think of something else?
I'm going with you. Louise made me see how silly I was. Honey, I'm sorry about the whole situation.
So am I. Very.
In 1975, interracial relationships were still controversial on television. Most networks avoided them entirely, afraid of backlash from sponsors and conservative audiences. But the Jeffersons didn't avoid anything. Tom and Helen Willis, the Jeffersons' neighbors, were an interracial couple, white husband and Black wife, living openly and unapologetically in the same building. George constantly made jokes about their relationship, calling Tom a zebra and mocking their marriage. But the show never portrayed the Willis family as wrong or abnormal. They were just another couple navigating life, love, and parenthood. And in one groundbreaking episode, Tom and Helen kissed on screen. A full romantic kiss between a Black woman and white man on primetime television. The network panicked. They received angry letters, threats to pull advertising, and predictions that the show would be canceled. But Norman Lear stood firm. He refused to edit the kiss or apologize for it. The episode aired as written, and something unexpected happened. The backlash was smaller than anticipated. Most viewers didn't care or actually appreciated the representation. The kiss normalized interracial relationships in a way that preaching never could. It simply showed two people in love, and that was revolutionary. The Jeffersons proved that pushing boundaries wasn't just morally right, it was good television. Number 15. Florence was supposed to be temporary.
10 o'clock on the dot, Louise.
Oh, I believe in being prompt, Mr. Jefferson. I always say I ain't got no right to waste time when other people is paying for it.
I hear you. She's got...
Good morning, Miss Jefferson. You finished with breakfast already?
Yes, I am. You know, Florence, you shouldn't talk to me.
Marla Gibbs walked onto the Jeffersons set expecting to appear in one episode and leave. Her character, Florence Johnston, the sharp-tongued maid who refused to take George's abuse, was written as a one-time guest role. But the moment she delivered her first cutting comeback to George, everything changed. The studio audience erupted in laughter. The cast couldn't keep straight faces, and Norman Lear immediately knew he'd found gold. Gibbs was offered a recurring role, then quickly upgraded to series regular. Florence became essential to the show's dynamic, serving as George's comedic foil and Louise's confidant. What made Florence brilliant was her refusal to be demeaning. She was a maid, yes, but she had dignity, wit, and zero tolerance for disrespect. When George would bark orders, she'd fire back with zingers that left him speechless. Their verbal sparring matches became highlights of every episode, two strong personalities clashing in the most entertaining ways possible. Gibbs brought layers to Florence that weren't necessarily in the script. You could see her character's intelligence, her frustration with her circumstances, her determination to maintain her self-respect no matter what. Florence wasn't just comic relief. She was a fully realized character who represented countless black women working service jobs while dreaming of something more. And Marla Gibbs played her with such heart and humor that Florence Johnston became just as iconic as the Jeffersons themselves, proof that sometimes the best characters are the ones nobody planned. And then number 14, the show tackled suicide when nobody else would.
I'm getting thrown out of my apartment.
What?
They tearing the whole building down.
Mama always said you did have trouble speaking your mind.
How would you know what Mama said?
That's telling no easy.
Most sitcoms in the 1970s stayed light, avoiding heavy topics that might depress audiences or scare advertisers. The Jeffersons never played it safe. In one of its most powerful episodes, the show addressed suicide directly, following a character who was contemplating ending his life. It wasn't played for laughs. It wasn't softened or sanitized. The episode treated the subject with respect, showing the pain behind suicidal ideation and the importance of reaching out for help. And network executives were terrified. They worried about viewer backlash, about the episode being too dark for a comedy show. But Norman Lear insisted. He believed television had a responsibility to address real issues, even uncomfortable ones. The episode aired, and the response was overwhelming. Viewers wrote letters thanking the show for opening up conversations about mental health in their own families. Crisis hotlines reported increased calls from people seeking help. The episode didn't solve suicide or mental illness, but it showed that these topics could be discussed openly, that asking for help wasn't weakness but strength. The Jeffersons proved once again that comedy could be more than escapism. It could be a mirror reflecting society's struggles back at itself, forcing audiences to confront difficult truths while still entertaining them. That balance, serious subject matter wrapped in humor and humanity, became the show's signature and its greatest achievement. Number 13, Sherman Hemsley and Isabel Sanford fought constantly.
You and I will fake an argument to show Alan that when people argue, they can say things they don't really mean.
Know just how you feel. Ain't it nice seeing someone you love?
Love? George, I can't stand her. I want that woman out of my house.
On screen, George and Louise Jefferson had chemistry that made their marriage believable and compelling. Off-screen, Sherman Hemsley and Isabel Sanford barely spoke to each other. The tension between them was legendary, fueled by personality clashes and creative differences that festered over 11 seasons. Hemsley was a perfectionist, obsessive about line delivery and comedic timing. He'd rehearse endlessly, demanding take after take until everything felt right. Sanford preferred a more relaxed approach, trusting her instincts and going with the flow. Their different working styles created friction that sometimes erupted into open conflict. Cast members recall shouting matches between takes, Hemsley insisting on rewrites, while Sanford argued the script was fine as written. Directors learned to navigate the tension carefully, often filming their scenes separately when possible to avoid confrontation. But here's the strange thing, that real-life tension somehow enhanced their on-screen dynamic. The edge in their performances felt authentic because it was. When George and Louise argued, you believed it because Hemsley and Sanford weren't always acting. Their genuine frustration with each other bled into the characters, making the Jeffersons' marriage feel lived in and real rather than sitcom perfect. Despite their personal conflicts, both actors were consummate professionals who never let their issues affect the final product. They showed up, delivered brilliant performances, and created one of television's most memorable couples. Sometimes the best art comes from uncomfortable places, and the Jeffersons' marriage worked precisely because the actors playing them didn't always get along. Number 12. The show created jobs for Black actors and crew.
To the east side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky.
If you're the Avon lady, I think it's too late.
George, the Lord created everybody equal.
The Jeffersons wasn't just revolutionary for what appeared on screen. It changed what happened behind the camera. Norman Lear insisted on hiring Black writers, directors, and crew members, creating opportunities in an industry that had historically locked them out. The writers' room included Black voices who brought authentic perspectives to storylines, ensuring the show didn't rely on stereotypes or outside interpretations of Black life. Directors like Jack Shea worked alongside Black assistant directors who were being trained for larger roles. The crew included Black camera operators, sound technicians, and production assistants who gained experience they'd carry into future projects. This wasn't tokenism. It was intentional systemic change, using the show's success to open doors that had been closed for decades. Many people who worked on The Jeffersons went on to create their own shows, direct major films, and become influential figures in entertainment. The show became a training ground, a place where Black talent could develop skills and build resumes in an environment that valued their contributions. The impact extended beyond individual careers. By proving that diverse crews could produce hit television, the Jeffersons challenged industry assumptions about who was qualified to make entertainment. It showed that Black stories told by Black creators resonated with audiences of all backgrounds. That authenticity was more valuable than assimilation. The show's legacy isn't just the episodes that aired, it's the careers it launched and the doors it opened for everyone who came after. Number 11. George's walk became more famous than most. Dialogue.
Till you die.
Lovely apartment, this. George, move. Let me guess, Mr. Jefferson, you must be 10 stone.
Sherman. Hemsley didn't just play George Jefferson, he gave him a signature strut that became instantly recognizable. That cocky chest out, shoulders back walk wasn't in the script. Hemsley created it, developing the physical comedy that made George visually distinct before he even spoke a word. The walk conveyed everything about George's character, his pride, his defiance, his refusal to make himself smaller to make others comfortable. It was a Black man walking through the world, taking up space unapologetically, and in 1975, that was a statement. Hemsley reportedly based the walk on people he'd observed in Harlem, combining different elements into something uniquely George. Directors loved it because it gave scenes instant energy. George would strut into a room, and the dynamics would shift immediately, everyone bracing for whatever chaos he was about to unleash. The walk transcended the show, becoming a cultural reference point. People would imitate it, comedians would parody it, and decades later, it remains one of the most iconic physical comedy bits in television history. It proved that great character work isn't just about dialogue. It's about finding physical expressions that communicate personality without words. Sherman Hemsley understood that comedy is a full-body art form, and George Jefferson's walk became as essential to the character as his sharp tongue and short fuse. Sometimes the most memorable moments are the ones nobody wrote down. Number 10. The show almost got canceled after one season.
Mrs. Jefferson, I'm Florence Johnson, the agency secretary.
Oh, yes, come in. This is my husband.
Mama, happy birthday! Hello, son.
Despite strong ratings and critical acclaim, The Jeffersons nearly died after its first season. Network executives were nervous about the show's controversial content, worried that George's unapologetic blackness and sharp commentary on race would alienate advertisers. Behind closed doors, there were serious discussions about cancellation, about replacing the show with something safer and less likely to generate angry letters from conservative viewers. Norman Lear found out about the discussions and went nuclear. He threatened to pull all his shows from the network, a move that would have devastated their schedule since Lear produced some of their biggest hits. He argued that The Jeffersons was exactly what television needed, a show that reflected real black life and real black success without apology or compromise. The network backed down, but barely. They renewed the show for a second season with conditions, demanding that future episodes tone down some of George's more aggressive racial commentary and focus more on family-friendly storylines. Lear agreed publicly, but ignored them privately. Season 2 featured some of the show's most controversial episodes, pushing boundaries even further than the first season had. And the ratings kept climbing. Eventually, the network stopped trying to control the show and just let it be what it was. The Jeffersons proved that audiences were ready for authentic black stories. That controversy didn't kill shows if the quality was high enough. It survived not by compromising, but by refusing to change. And that stubbornness saved it. Number 9. Roxy Roker broke barriers. Nobody was watching.
He didn't like those little suits I used to put him in when we lived in New York. Those little, camel hair polo shirt.
Roxy Roker played Helen Willis, half of television's first interracial couple shown in a regular series. But her significance went deeper than that single boundary-breaking role. Roker was a classically trained actress who brought dignity and intelligence to every scene, refusing to let Helen be defined solely by her white husband. She gave the character depth, showing a woman navigating complex racial dynamics while maintaining her own identity and strength. Off-camera, Roker was a fierce advocate for civil rights and black representation in entertainment. She used her platform to push for more diverse casting, better roles for black actors, and authentic storytelling that didn't rely on stereotypes. Her impact extended beyond the Jeffersons. She paved the way for interracial relationships to be normalized on television, making it easier for future shows to feature diverse couples without controversy. Roker also became a mentor to younger black actresses, sharing advice and opening doors wherever she could. Her son, musician Lenny Kravitz, later credited her with teaching him about breaking barriers and staying true to yourself regardless of outside pressure. Roxy Roker's legacy isn't just what she did on screen. It's how she used her visibility to create change behind the scenes, fighting battles most viewers never knew were happening. Number 8. The apartment set. Cost more than most TV movies.
Here, Stell, you hold this end.
All right.
5 foot 10 inches, just right.
Hey, would you mind explaining to me what the...
Now let's tour the living room. Later, when we do the full tour, I'll take us out on the terrace, too.
Jefferson's deluxe apartment wasn't just impressive on screen. It was one of the most expensive standing sets in television history. Norman Lear spared no expense, insisting on quality furnishings, real artwork, and authentic details that would make the space feel genuinely luxurious rather than obviously fake. The set designers scoured New York for period-appropriate furniture, purchasing actual high-end pieces rather than cheap replicas. The result was a set that looked and felt like a real Manhattan penthouse, down to the working terrace doors and authentic city skyline visible through the windows. The investment paid off. The apartment became a character itself, a visual representation of everything George had achieved and everything the show represented. Audiences could see the success, the arrival, the proof that black families could live in luxury without apology. But maintaining the set was expensive. Props had to be replaced, furniture needed upkeep, and the network constantly questioned whether such elaborate sets were necessary for a sitcom. Lear always fought back, arguing that authenticity mattered, that the audience could tell the difference between real quality and cheap imitation. The apartment stayed pristine for all 11 seasons, a testament to the show's commitment to excellence. Number 7. Mike Evans has quit, then came back. Years later.
I'm glad you feel that way. I just got kicked out of school.
High school test, for the high school diploma, which I didn't get.
Are you jiving? Now, what would a guy with your smarts need a diploma?
Mike Evans created the role of Lionel Jefferson, George and Louise's son, appearing first on All in the Family before moving to the Jeffersons. But after the first season, Evans shocked everyone by quitting. He wanted to focus on writing and producing, feeling limited by playing the same character year after year. The show scrambled to replace him, bringing in Damon Evans, no relation, to play Lionel in season 2. The replacement worked fine, but fans noticed the difference. Mike Evans had brought a specific energy to Lionel, a quiet intelligence mixed with gentle rebellion against his father's more extreme views. Years passed, and Mike Evans watched his career stall. The writing opportunities he'd left the show for never materialized the way he'd hoped. Meanwhile, the Jeffersons kept thriving, becoming more successful with each season. In 1979, 4 years after leaving, Evans approached Norman Lear about returning. Lear welcomed him back without hesitation, writing out Damon Evans and reinstating Mike as Lionel. The return felt natural, like the character had simply been away and came home. Mike Evans stayed until 1985, leaving again only when he felt his character had run its course. His journey proved that sometimes you don't know what you have until you walk away. Number 6. Sherman Hemsley's salary. Dispute nearly ended production.
Oh yeah, I guess it is. Lucky for you.
Well, lucky for you, I got the ring reserved tomorrow at 2 o'clock for an hour.
An hour? Great!
By season 4, Sherman Hemsley was exhausted and underpaid. The show was a massive hit, pulling in huge ratings and advertising revenue. But Hemsley felt he wasn't being compensated fairly for carrying the entire series on his back. He demanded a significant raise in profit participation, arguing that without George Jefferson, there was no show. The network refused, offering a modest increase, but nothing close to what Hemsley requested. So he walked off set mid-season, just stopped showing up, leaving production in chaos. Episodes were hastily rewritten to minimize George's presence, focusing instead on Louise, Florence, and the supporting cast. The strategy worked temporarily, but everyone knew the show couldn't survive without its star. After 3 weeks of tense negotiations, a deal was reached. Hemsley got his raise, not everything he wanted, but enough to bring him back. The incident left scars, though. Trust between Hemsley and the producers never fully recovered, creating an undercurrent of tension that lasted the rest of the series. Cast members walked on eggshells, aware that another dispute could shut everything down permanently. But Hemsley had proven his point. He was irreplaceable, and he'd finally gotten the respect and compensation he deserved. Number 5. The final episode was never meant to be final.
See what I mean, sir? Nobody knows your name.
They do now, Ralph. Look at this ad.
To the east side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky.
When The Jeffersons aired its last episode on July 2nd, 1985, nobody knew it was the end. There was no finale, no special farewell, no closure for characters viewers had followed for 11 seasons. The show simply stopped. CBS canceled it, along with several other long-running series in a mass purge designed to refresh their lineup with younger skewing shows. The cast found out through news reports, not from the network. Sherman Hemsley was blindsided. Isabel Sanford was devastated. And the crew was furious that a show still pulling decent ratings was being dumped without warning or respect. Fans wrote angry letters demanding explanations, but CBS never provided satisfying answers. The abrupt cancellation became emblematic of how television treated black shows, disposable regardless of cultural impact or loyal audiences. The Jeffersons deserved a proper ending, a chance to say goodbye, recognition of its significance. Instead, it got erased mid-sentence, as if 11 years of groundbreaking television didn't matter. Years later, cast members still expressed bitterness about how it ended. Sherman Hemsley said in interviews that the cancellation felt like a betrayal, that CBS took the show for granted and threw it away when they wanted something newer and shinier. The lack of closure haunted everyone involved, leaving a legacy unfinished. Number 4. Marla Gibbs worked 2 jobs throughout the entire run.
Miss Jefferson? Excuse me, is that how you greet your mama?
While playing Florence on The Jeffersons, Marla Gibbs never quit her day job. For years, even as the show became a massive hit, she continued working as a reservations agent for United Airlines. She'd tape episodes during the week, then report to her airline shift on weekends, afraid to rely solely on acting income. Her reasoning was practical and born from experience. She'd seen too many actors lose everything when shows got canceled, left with no backup plan and bills they couldn't pay. So she kept both jobs, exhausting herself, but maintaining security. Eventually, as the show's success became undeniable and her role expanded, Gibbs finally quit the airline. But she never forgot the lesson. When she later created her own sitcom, 227, she made sure to have other income streams and investments, never putting all her faith in Hollywood's stability. Her work ethic became legendary on set. While other actors complained about early call times or long days, Gibbs never said a word. She'd spent years working harder schedules for less money, so television production felt easy by comparison. That perspective kept her grounded and grateful, traits that made Florence Johnston feel authentic. Marla Gibbs brought real working-class dignity to the role because she lived it. Number 3, the show launched a successful spin-off, Nobody Remembers.
Oh, hello, Mr. Jefferson.
Hello, Florence.
Look, Mr. Jefferson, I want
Look, Florence, this is my ball game, so whatever you were going to say, forget it.
Okay.
Good morning, Miss Jefferson. You finished with breakfast already?
Yes, I am. You know, Florence, you shouldn't talk to me.
In 1981, the Jeffersons spawned a spin-off called Checking In, following Florence as she left the Jeffersons to become executive housekeeper at a hotel. CBS promoted it heavily, believing Marla Gibbs was popular enough to carry her own show. It premiered with decent ratings, featuring Florence in a new environment with a new cast of supporting characters. But something was off. The chemistry that made Florence work on the Jeffersons didn't translate. Without George to bounce off, without the family dynamic, Florence felt lost. The writing couldn't find the right tone, caught between workplace comedy and social commentary without committing to either. Critics were lukewarm. The audience tuned out quickly. After 4 episodes, CBS pulled the plug, canceling Checking In and sending Florence back to the Jeffersons as if nothing had happened. The failed spin-off became a footnote, barely mentioned in discussions of either show, but it taught valuable lessons about what makes characters work. Florence was brilliant as part of an ensemble, the outsider looking in with sharp observations. Isolated on her own, she lost the context that made her special. The quick cancellation didn't hurt Marla Gibbs' career, though. If anything, it made producers appreciate her more on The Jeffersons, where she belonged. Number 2, Isabel Sanford, almost didn't return. After contract disputes,
I just can't understand why he's locking it in his office safe.
Oh, come on, Louise, I'm sure it's nothing. Let's give it
During season 7, Isabel Sanford grew frustrated with her treatment and compensation. She was the show's co-lead, but Sherman Hemsley received significantly more money and better billing. Sanford felt disrespected, taken for granted despite delivering consistently brilliant performances. When her contract came up for renewal, she made demands: equal pay, better working conditions, and respect from producers who treated her like a supporting player. Negotiations turned ugly. The network offered modest increases but refused to match Hemsley's salary, arguing that George was the show's centerpiece. Sanford considered walking away, seriously contemplating letting the Jeffersons continue without Louise. The threat was real enough that producers began quietly auditioning replacements, looking for actresses who could step into the role. But fan reaction changed everything. When rumors leaked that Isabel Sanford might leave, viewers revolted. Letters poured into CBS demanding she be treated fairly. Critics wrote articles about the disrespect black actresses faced even on successful shows. The pressure worked. Sanford got a significant raise, not quite equal to Hemsley, but close enough to feel like victory. She returned for season 8, and the show continued, but the fight left wounds, reminders that even success didn't guarantee respect. Number 1. The show's cultural impact still resonates today.
Well, that was really hard for me because it's just rude and just doesn't like me that way. But it was a character, I had to do it.
Are you sure this idea of yours is gonna work?
Positive. Look, let me tell you something. I'll bet you that before this week is out,
The Jeffersons changed television permanently. It proved black families could carry successful sitcoms, that black wealth could be celebrated, that controversial topics could be addressed through comedy without losing audiences. Every black sitcom that came after, from The Cosby Show to Blackish, owes something to the Jeffersons. It kicked down doors and refused to close them. The show normalized interracial relationships decades before society caught up. It showed black excellence without apology or explanation. It demonstrated that comedy could entertain while making social commentary, that laughter and truth weren't mutually exclusive. George Jefferson became an icon, a character who represented both the best and worst of black upward mobility. He was proud and petty, successful and insecure, loving and difficult. He was human, complex, real, and that complexity mattered because it refused to let black characters be one-dimensional. The theme song became an anthem. The apartment became aspirational. The show became essential. Today, the Jeffersons are studied in universities, analyzed in documentaries, and referenced constantly in popular culture. Its influence extends far beyond its 11-season run. It changed what was possible, what was acceptable, what audiences would demand. And it did all of that while making people laugh. The Jeffersons didn't just move on up. It kicked the door open for everyone who came after. Because some shows don't just entertain, they change the world, one laugh at a time.